Welcome to this PTS discussion about lifecycle management challenges facing increasingly complex enterprise IT shops. I'm Ken Taylor, a principal consultant with PTS in our Boston digital infrastructure practice. I'm joined today by Damian Miles, who leads our lifecycle management operations for enterprise clients. Hey, Damian, why don't you tell us a bit about this concept of technical debt and why enterprises need to put so much due diligence behind managing this risk?
So I guess technical debt was originally a concept applied to software, and at a high level, it described the cost to rework or maintain that software over time. But today we can look at technical debt in broader terms as the implied cost to refresh technology components to current standards within an organization. Each company will drive that desired state through their business and their IT strategy. So in a modern large organization, these components can cover a large number of areas beyond that original narrow definition of software. So we're talking about components like servers, network, storage, and middleware. Dealing with technical debt is important for a company for a multitude of reasons. We've got expense, lack of support, excessive management overhead, and inability to cope with the demands of digital transformation. You've got lack of scalability, lack of resiliency. All of this in turn adds risk to the technology space within an organization and beyond. So technical debt can make it hard for an organization to adapt to changing market forces.
So for these large enterprises, it's a pretty complex undertaking to manage the life cycle of their physical IT assets. Can you give us an idea about the real world due diligence that's required to actually pull this off?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Ken. It can be pretty complex. Over time, there tends to be a collection of just about every type of technology imaginable that's been deployed, and it all needs lifecycle management. On top of that, big companies tend to be risk averse for their production systems. So the amount of due diligence to ensure that there are no mistakes with tech upgrades is tremendous. Our view is the keys to success here is strong governance, change control, and the right tool set. So we've developed our own tool to work alongside industry standard tools such as Microsoft Project to allow us to track dozens of projects simultaneously and also manage the excruciating level of detail required to ensure positive outcomes to complex migrations of critical systems. We've worked across multiple regions, multiple technologies, and this all presents a challenge. But additionally, we do realize the technology landscape is always changing.
And here's where things get really interesting. I think we're likely to pine for the days when lifecycle management was this simple. Enterprise IT is now getting more complex as companies are moving workload to the public cloud and creating hybrid cloud and multi-cloud architectures. So depending on the cloud deployment model, LCM is still a big factor to be dealt with. If you're deploying infrastructure as a service as part of your digital transformation journey, you still have lifecycle management concerns and risks to deal with.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Ken. If you are deploying software as a service products only, then the lifecycle management's not your problem, and that's one of the major benefits of SaaS. But when you use infrastructure as a service, as a good many enterprises do, at least in part, then you're essentially renting someone else's computer. And you're still responsible to manage the risks of technical debt when things like instance types are scheduled to go end of life or operating systems go end of service life.
Yeah, and the other big issue is organizational rather than technical. In a big enterprise, when a new public cloud direction is adopted, what do you think? Is the tendency to use the same people that are managing your on-premise assets or to use an entirely new set of people in a quote-unquote cloud organization?
Well, you're right. I think this is a big issue. The likelihood is that there'll be an entirely different set of people responsible for LCM of the public cloud assets versus the on-prem assets. In fact, because of outsourcing deals, it may be an entirely different company that's responsible. And then you wind up losing your integrated visibility and responsibility regarding lifecycle risk. And at that point, you're going down a really bad path.
One of the things we believe in at PTS is that a fully integrated approach to lifecycle management is really the way to go. We're working with a partner right now on development of software that allows for asset and LCM risk management across all on-prem, private cloud, and public cloud infrastructures as service resources. What this is going to do is this will bring in data not only from systems of record, but from a variety of real-time collectors. There's also going to be an application view to assemble topologies of these assets at an app level.
Yeah, and this could let you assess risk and make better data-driven decisions, which is vital, even if your organization bifurcates into different responsibilities, because the important lifecycle data is all in the same place.
But it would still be best to have all of these complex operational details of production LCM changes handled by the same organization, whether that's on-prem or cloud.
Yeah, absolutely. If that's possible, that's where you should be heading. That should be your goal.